Okay, I'm ready. Oh God. Okay. Check. Mike. Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Inline K9 Podcast with Josh, your host, Unleashed and Uncensored. Today's topic is the rise of the social media dog trainer and across all the platforms that come with it, from TikTok to Facebook to everyone's favorite reels of social media. So today we're going to dive into a bit of the charisma versus reality and share some viewpoints from that. Let's dive into it. All right. So first topic we'll dive into is the use of social media, from a business standpoint to more importantly, a dog training standpoint. So social media has, invaded our homes and invaded our lives on so many different levels. And, let's be honest, there's a lot of pros and a lot of cons. Like anything we do, it's come with a cost of our ability to critically think. Critically think, I think, is quite important. The ability to hold someone's attention span for longer than 2 or 3 seconds in today's society. And one of the things I think we capitalize on as a society is the ability to show people a specific moment in time, a photograph or a small reel, if you will, that forces people to see one viewpoint and one viewpoint only. We see this across politics, sports, from a range of topics, and we definitely see it in dog training. We've all seen videos where, people are trying to break up dog fights and you get expert advice on how to break up dog fights, or, hey, how do I get my reactive dog to walk past the dog perfectly? 2 minutes later, this dog is perfect and it's fixed. Just remember, social media only shows you one snapshot, one view. Okay. And this is mine. This is my opinion. I think a lot of people share this. The ability to look outside of what's happening and critically think is so very important in today's society. And it's something I feel we lack as a society in whole, especially in Western society. And you see it in every aspect of our society, but specifically, politics has kind of brought us to this, right? So dog training, everyone has opinions on dog training, right? To the left, to the right, of, force-free to, heavy-handed, adversive training. And I think, like most things, somewhere in the middle is where we need to be, right? So that's, here at Inline, we're a very balanced approach. We use all 4 quadrants of the operant training condition model, and with a focus on positive reinforcement and building a relationship through communication and through trust. Something you have to remember with these videos that you're watching, these reels that you scroll through, over and over, and you get this opinion or you get this viewpoint, is this is what the writer and or producer wants you to see, right? So you seeing a dog, being fixed, walking perfect with one leash pop, doesn't show you the 6 hours of training that dog got ahead of time, or the heavy e-collar correction that dog may have received in the background, right? We saw this a lot with a show like Cesar Millan. A dog, he'd come over, he'd see a dog that would be over the top, either aggressive, reactive, people reactive, dog reactive, whatever it may have been. And then all of a sudden the dog comes back, what looks like, a day later, but it went through a 6-week heavy immersion program of, what I would hope would be a balanced training approach. And it had to great effect. So just remember, when you're watching these videos, you're seeing one side of things. You need to be able to take the good from the bad and understand that a lot of people, I would hope, have the intent of helping you, and that is the goal. But sometimes the goal of charisma and likes and clicks and the dopamine that we all crave nowadays seems to surpass the actual goal of helping people, unfortunately. And that's just where we're at today. So with that, we're going to talk about, what it is, what does it mean to be a dog trainer? So one of the first things I want to touch on is, what you can and can't believe when you're watching these videos, right? I think we've all watched enough, politics in Western society, these videos, from either side, kind of trying to showcase their point and, make us believe. And the first thing I always do with all these videos, left, right, regardless of the way I think, is, how are they trying to fuck me here? Because quite honestly, there's always a hidden trick, right? Look over here while we're doing this, right? What is the message of the writer? What are they trying to get across, right? What am I being forced down into, right? And this goes with dog training as well. Why did this happen? Why did the dog do this? There's just so many variables that aren't accounted for, and you do not have the information when you're watching these videos, on scroll, on repeat. The information is unavailable to you. You could ask in the questions. It doesn't really matter. The likelihood of you getting a logical and or timely response is going to be, unlikely. So it's important to remember that these videos are here for clicks. They're here for likes. And a majority of people are just trying to grab your attention for that, 10, 15, 20 seconds to monetize your time. Really, that's what it comes down to. All these platforms monetize your time. Don't get me wrong. Content is great. It's fun. It can be soul sucking at times, for sure. We've all been there down the YouTube and Instagram rabbit holes. But I think it's important to realize, why we watch or the content we look for and what we're doing with that information. I think one of the things we need to ask ourselves is when we see a video, when we see a dog do something maybe that you thought impossible, not 30 seconds before that or 2 minutes before that, think to yourself, why am I being shown this? What led to this, right? Instant obedience. Is that likely? Is it repeatable? Very unlikely. Like, is it reliable under stimulus or pressure? Again, not likely. Not in that short video, not without time, training, and repetitions, right? Consistency. How are things being delivered? Are there adversives being used? Does the dog understand the adversive to begin with? Was it conditioned to understand, through an operant method or some sort of method that allows the dog to understand why they're being corrected in the first place? Is this just something we're doing for a video? Is it a different dog? I've seen this too, where you'll see one dog and then a different dog brought out, and it's not even the same animal. So it's important to watch these videos with a grain of salt and ask yourself why and how this is being done. And is this real? Always ask yourself that. Always question everything. I think it's important to do that. And do so with this video. Do it with me. Do it with my content that I'm going to put out. They are just opinions. That's all they are. I have the opinion where I want to help people. That's my goal. I don't care about clicks, likes. They're all great. It's important for growing the fan base. But the goal is to provide you all and the community and my followers with information that will hopefully help you and your dog live long, happy, healthy lives, giving your dog the freedom and structure that it craves and they deserve. Reclaiming the standard. How do we, as dog training professionals and dog training enthusiasts, where does the fault lie with us in information that we provide as well? I think this is important. Accountability is something that, is not completely lax in Western society. And I would say pretty across the world, specifically in our society. The information you're sharing, the goal of it, you would hope, is to provide people with information they can use. If they're using this information and to its own detriment and or is reinforcing other negative behaviors, unknowingly, that's kind of on us. That's kind of on the professional and the expert to ensure that information is being pressed out in a way that allows people to apply it in order to better their situations, to better their lives, to better their dogs' lives, right? An example of this is there are a lot of seminars, a lot of both obedience and like pet world and police world seminars across, North America, the world here. A lot of high profile ones that touch on these things, and they bring in dog training experts and professionals from around the country, different aspects, different views. That's one thing I think is very important and a lot of places do this right, is they bring in different views different than their own in order to give their handlers, their officers, their agency members a different view of maybe what they like, what they don't like. Because I think in dog training, what you don't like or what you wouldn't do is almost as equally as important as what I would do. I think it's important to understand that. So something that I always come back to is I've been to a few of the HITS concerts. It's one of the mega, like, premier law enforcement agency seminars. It's a lot of fun. You get to know a lot of great people, and they bring in some really great trainers from across the country, and they bring in a lot of different people, either their first time, early on, or have been around a long time. And I found that some of the information, of course, the information that was being relayed to all these young handlers in the room, people like with 1 to 10 years experience with their dog, some of the information being relayed was, I don't want to use the word asinine, but it was pretty wild to me that you had an audience and a platform. These people are out doing the job, these law enforcement officers, and the information that was being provided to them, I thought, and not just through an opinion, because I've done this on a real world level as well, opinion based, but some of the information being, given to these young handlers was just outright wrong in some cases. And I don't mean wrong from an opinion standpoint, like just dangerous. Information without proper knowledge is danger. It can be applied wrong. It will be applied wrong if you don't understand how to apply it. So these snapshot, these reels, these quick to, these one tool fix all, these quick obedience, they don't exist. Anyone who tells you otherwise, like, question it and run, save your money. I think it is important to hear a lot of different opinions, and you should do that. But just understand that not everything you hear is something you should apply as well, right? You need to critically think on your own. Think about how you wish to apply these things to your dog, based on what your job is, whether that's, I just want my fluffy golden retriever to live a happy off-leash, healthy life, with great obedience, or, I have a high drive, Belgian Malinois or Dutch Shepherd, whom I want to do all sorts of different sport work with, or advanced obedience with, everything in between. Nothing changes, and this is something that, I focus on big time with inline is, the whole goal is not perfection. You're never going to get perfection. You should always strive for it. I think in everything we do with your training aims, I think it's important, but the goal is to achieve consistency and clarity of communication to these canines, to ensure a higher percentage of success. That is your goal. If you're chasing perfection, I think you can get yourself in a lot of trouble, and you can force your dog down a pretty negative path pretty quick. So it's important to critically think, look at these tasks, look at these training tools that's being applied, viewed, shared, and always ask yourself, I don't care if, it's from someone you agree on everything with or don't, always ask yourself, does this apply to me? And does this make sense? From a psychological standpoint, can this be applied to the dog? And it makes sense, right? In 2 minutes, in 1 minute, is it reliable? Is it repeatable? Under pressure, under stimulus? Or is this just something that, someone pulled the wool over our eyes, and made something happen in a 30-second reel, that you have to try right now? It's important to understand the difference between quick fixes, real life situations, and long-term adaptations to helping you succeed with your canine. So something we touched on earlier that I want to double back to is measuring progress, right? How do we know the information that's being given to us is real? It works. Is it reliable? Is it repeatable, right? Under pressure, under stimulus, in new environments and new situations. It's what you always have to ask yourself. I'm training a recall. Okay, my recall is perfect in my backyard. Okay, great. Is that recall good on a new field? Is that recall great in a new neighborhood, with other dogs around? It's important to build out your repertoire of training and commands in new and high stimulus environments, right? This is what we refer to at Inline as, a well socialized dog, right? Someone who understands obedience and clarity and is neutral to any and all environments. But neutrality being the goal, right? Once you have a calm, confident dog in all environments, you can really do a lot. The communication becomes much easier. You have a lot of more focus, lots more engagement. This changes our game considerably when you're looking to expand on earlier skills, right? So where is the measurable success? This is important. So how do I measure it, right? Is it reliable? Is it repeatable? Always ask yourself this. You're going to hear me say this a lot. I'll probably say it even more throughout this episode and through our training sessions. That's great. Is it reliable? Is it repeatable, right? And under stress and high stimulus situations. If it is, great. You've achieved something that not many people do. It's really important, I think, to aim there. Always aim for perfection, but understanding that real life, we're likely not going to get it, right? But training for that 100 and getting the 90 is, a really nice sweet spot. And that doesn't mean you should settle. That's not what that is at all. It's reality, right? Dogs aren't perfect. We're not perfect. My sequence is not perfect 100% of the time. His genetics aren't perfect. I don't know, what level of perfection, he or she can attain. And a dog, does the dog live the life it can attain perfection all the time? Do you have to get too adversive, right? And this gets to that measurable standpoint is, have I achieved a small aim of, my dog doesn't jump on people when we come home, okay? Have I used progressional-based communication training in order to achieve that aim, right? Versus just smacking him every time he jumps on you, right? Have I helped him succeed and understand why he shouldn't do things versus do this or else? This is important, right? And that's, this is one of the philosophies of dog training, right? I can go heavy-handed and achieve certain results. Sure, I can make it so the dog doesn't want to jump on me. Absolutely, I could. Now, what about the welfare of the dog in that moment, right? Do I want the dog to fear men or fear women or fear people coming in the home? Or could I help the dog understand that, hey, this doesn't get me rewarded. This gets me either corrected and or removed from what I want in the first place, right? So we go down the negative punishment hole as well. Negative punishment is a very underutilized tool in at-home obedience training. It's not a simple thing to explain to clients all the time, but it is definitely underutilized along with negative reinforcement. So measurable, ask yourself when whatever it is you're asking of your dog, can I achieve this reliably and repeatably in any and all environments, high pressure, high stimulus situations? It's very important. So touching on these videos, these, insider views on, what works, what doesn't work. Oh my God, my magic marker here just fixed everything. This tool fixed everything. 2 minutes of this fixes everything, right? Be cynical in your approach. It is very important to look at things when information is being given to you and question it. And questioning it doesn't make it bad or doesn't make it wrong. Questioning is what allows you to critically think and approach new information with a guarded mindset, which I think is important. People think that and they think, closed off. That's not it at all. It's important to take in any and all information, but it's, I would say, more valuable to be able to take in that information, question it, and run it through your principles and values and understand, if that's something that would work for you, if not, it'll make sense to you. So when we look at how we approach these videos from, who's giving the information, what's their credibility, right? What's their credentials? What are their business ethics like? What's their page look like? And I mean that in two ways. One, they can show you one thing, but it could be another, right? So look at reviews, look at what's being shown on their social media, comments, right? A lot of the stuff you could hide if you want to, but typically that stuff will shine through. Reviews online, reviews through comments, posts, different things like that. And some people don't even try to hide it. So it's right there. It allows you to get a better look at the person sharing this information and question it to the best of your ability. Ask another person. Ask, if you have a friend, ask them how they achieved this. Ask another trainer. Seek more professional advice. The thing I always joke about, the big thing is dog trainers are like real estate agents. Everyone's a real estate agent. Well, now everyone's a dog trainer. What makes a dog trainer, right? Is it some 4-year degree? Is it some, 10-year master's program? And, I would say it's someone with an innate sense of care for these dogs to see them thrive and succeed in any and all environments, right? And not only that, then how to bring that information to a client, right? Me taking a dog in for 6 weeks and working it, yeah, sure, I can achieve a lot more than I can in, say, 6 weeks working with a client. But at the end of the day, I need the dog to thrive in, its environment, its home, away from me, right? So that's why I always put the onus back on the handler and the client. What are you going to do? Here's this homework. Can you achieve this? Can you do that? It's very easy to tell who's putting in the effort and who's not. I think that goes for a lot of things in life, but especially with your dog, and understanding that, time is a commodity nowadays. It's a valuable commodity, and how we use it, especially as it relates to interacting with our dog, whether that be through both structured and unstructured training, if we stay consistent and true to our communications and values, or if we just kind of let the dog run amok, and then only when we're doing, say, 2 minutes of sit and down work does it become clear, right? I tell everyone this until I'm blue in the face, and this is just an opinion, so do it with what you will. The 10, 15 minutes of structured training a day that you do, let's call it, with a leash, like focused, aiming for the 100%, reliable, repeatable, that's all great. And that's good. That's where your dog learns a lot. But I would argue the other, the 23 hours of the day, or, the 16 hours you're awake anyways, where you're talking to your dog in the same tone, same context. When you're asking the dog something, you set it up for success. When the dog struggles with something, you help them through it, reward, that continuation of training doesn't just end when the leash drops. It continues through when you're making dinner, when you leave the house to go pick up your kids or go out. It's important to continue to communicate with these dogs as if they understand, right? I always joke, dogs don't speak English. Dogs don't speak any language. They're very good at speaking tone and body language, right? And they are very good at learning conditioned words in order to achieve an aim, right? Positive reinforcement, we condition the word sit to mean treat, right? Just that kind of context. But tone and body language are everything. So when we're asking our dog something, be prepared to help the dog through it and or correct them should they not listen. And on that, you're only correcting your dog when they understand how to do something reliably and repeatably. It's really unfair from a communication standpoint to do so until we've achieved that, right? So high reps, high value, building that trust, building that communication, that relationship. It's so important through treats, through pets, through praise, through toys. It's important to build that high value relationship. That'll carry you through a lot of other things, right? But most of all, and I say this to clients, say this to people, treat your dog like a dog. It's not a person. It doesn't mean it's not a member of your family. I don't want to insult people here, but it's a fucking dog. Treat it like a dog. They crave structure. They are an animal and they crave it. They do better when you treat them like dogs. The issues begin when you start treating them like humans. They are not fucking humans. Stop treating them as such. Stop babying them. Give them structure, give them rules, give them boundaries, just like children. And they thrive in that environment. They thrive when everything is clear to them, right? That's important. Just like humans, as do animals and dogs. Dogs is a big one. They thrive on that pack hierarchy. If something is made clear to them reliably and repeatably through reinforcement, especially, you're going to set yourself up for a well neutral, environmentally strong dog in your home and throughout the rest of your life, which is so valuable. So do your homework. Make sure you're following these people, seeing what kind of information they're pushing out. Is it for clicks? Is it for likes? Don't get me wrong. I'm going to be getting into fun content like this. Just more from I want to give my opinion standpoint. but the information I pride myself on giving out is what I believe to be correct, not so much opinion based, but experience based in order to help you achieve your goals. So I hope you enjoy that in the future. I'm really looking forward to that. The social media dog trainers, all the feedback they give, all the videos they push. Just ask yourself, what, why, and how is this done? Who is pushing this information? Do your homework, and have fun and enjoy it and take it for what it is. They're just short, quick versions of an opinion or a view that the writer or producer wants you to see. So they want you to take away this information. What else is there for you to take away out of that, though? So just remember that. So with that, I will leave it there. Looking forward to having another episode, and look forward to seeing you guys soon. Talk to you later. Bye.